Hey guys, it's RC here, and today we are doing a video on how to efficiently farm all the neutral behemoths in Dauntless, starting with the Gnasher. So what I do with the Gnasher, if I'm part farming, is I will use chain scythes. They're also semi-good for killing it, in my opinion, because you can use the chain scythes to efficiently cut it up if you build part damage, and it should kill it either the first or second wave. I believe in this clip I got it on the second wave or second phase, and there's plenty of other ways to just straight up kill it, but I prefer just use chain scythes because you can farm it and kill it pretty efficiently. Now note, this is a normal Gnasher. You won't really need to ever farm a normal Gnasher because you can just farm lesser for the normal parts. But it's pretty much the same for a Rage Tail, except the one thing you gotta keep in mind with the Rage Tail is when it does the tail slam ability or any stomp ability, it will do a shockwave. Like if I were to dodge right there like that, there's a high chance it would have got hit by the shockwave. Now, basically all you gotta do with the chain scythes is focus the tail. It will tend to do that slam or the tail swipe with the occasional like rush thing. And once you break the tail though, you don't really need to worry about the tail swipe. It'll just do the face rush. From this point, it's a pretty straightforward, easy to kill with the chain scythes. Another weapon I recommend would be hammer with a attack speed build to hit it when it does the rush ability. But I still recommend chain scythes because I broke that tail really quick, and now I can just do a lot of damage, get a lot of damage in. Now, lamp is optional. I prefer to use the Drask just to break parts efficiently. With chain scythes though, a really good lamp to use would be the Koshai, because the Koshai's L1 ability gives you vampirism. In other words, you heal every time you hit it, and it can heal you a lot with the rate of fire of the chain scythes. Now you can use Cruel Rift Strike or the other ability, it's completely optional. I just use Cruel Rift Strike because it's longer range dodge, and with the Drask Lantern's L1 you can do a lot of, a little bit more damage. So it's pretty good for part farming. That's what I recommend it for. So here are my perks that I use. I use Sharpened 6. I use Etherborn just to get some health off the Ether vent when I can. Ether Hunter for when it's enraged. And I also instead tend to use Energized Shell. I was just using Etherborn over it at the time. Now, I wasn't entirely using my build. I tend to use full on Sharpened, but I had Knockout King equipped that time, which is useless on chain scythes, by the way. So yeah, I'm gonna build my full build real quick and I'll show you exactly what I use when I'm farming Gnashers for parts. So I like to use the double damage cunning cell, and I get that to 6, I get sharpened to 6, and then from there it doesn't really matter. I tend to either use Blade Storm or sometimes Adrenaline, but not really. And yeah, it's really good for breaking parts. As for lantern, you can use Drasks. Drasks will get it done fine. Doesn't matter what thing you use on it. I like to use the one where your hold L1 ability grants faster attack speed. Makes it easier to break its tail. Now moving on to the quill shot. The only difference between the Deadeye and the normal quill shot is the Deadeye will do more damage, and when it does that lie on the ground spin attack, it will do it in a 360 or kind of like 180 degree angle instead of just one turn. It'll do it 3 times. And how I prefer to farm more stationary monsters like this is I will use a hammer, because you can hit their head pretty freely. They are very easy to stagger with a hammer, and they can't really move too much when you hammer them like in the face, so they don't really move too much is what I meant, because they'll be either doing the sneeze or the single shot quill ability, and when it misses a attack it stays still for a long time, so it's really easy to stagger this guy and get him on the ground. Now, what I recommend, of course, is you build a stagger on your hammer like most people would, and you constantly do the damage, not the damage, the stagger buff ability thing. You'll unlock it, I think, rank 8 with hammer. And then another thing I recommend you do is that slam. The slam dazes it very easily. And a good combo to use is you do 3 squares and a triangle. I hardly used it in this video, but you do a huge slam and hit it for like 3 to 4 waves of a like damage wave. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a huge damage wave. If you hit him in the face with it, it will also do concussive, daze him. I think I do it right here. Never mind. But all you do is you stay in his face because he's very stationary. You repeat this. I did it there, but I didn't realize what I was doing, so I missed it. But lantern wise, I recommend you have a higher attack speed lantern instead of a part breaking lantern. So like Embermane, because what I had here was Drask, which is just for breaking parts. Now another class that's very efficient at farming this guy is the Gunslinger. If you build part damage and cunning, because the guns can counter this guy really hard, because he can get all those spikes on his back and nerf his damage and everything. Now, as for getting a bunch of hits off, it's not too easy with the guns, because you won't be able to daze him too much, and he'll constantly be on you if he's the heroic variant. The neutral basic variant is pretty easy to fight. You really shouldn't have to worry about him. Just note that when you're hitting him in the face, you have to dodge his quills, and from that point on, you just gotta beat him up. case you're wondering why I'm not healing or anything right here, I'm intentionally letting myself get low, because if I go down, my tragic echo exotic helmet will make me go into some sort of ghost kind of sludge form, which allows me to do way more damage for 15 seconds, I believe it is. So I'm intentionally going down here to go into that form and just finish him off quickly. So my build consisted of Knockout King 6, Weighted Strike 6, Sharpened 5, Barbed 3, Conduit, 9 Life, Shell Shock Resistance, Stunning Vigor, all that. For Stagger, you can use either one of these. Next, we are hunting the Shrike. Now, what I recommend for the Shrike is Hammer or Axe. Preferably Axe. You can also farm this guy pretty efficiently with the guns. Now, he is a lot harder and more sporadic when he's the heroic variant. He tends to do his moveset way more sporadically. He tends to jump more often, and he also does a long range swipe attack, kind of like Shroud if you've made it to him yet. Now, what I recommend is you build mainly part damage with a little bit of stagger. Mainly what you gotta do is you gotta get your axe throws right when he's swooping at you. And for the times he's not swooping at you and you have your axe throw, you throw it in his face and let Knockout King do its job. And things you gotta mind is when he does his slash attack. Now the thing with axe is when you're doing Grim Onslaught, when you throw your axe you get a hyper armor like that, where you don't get hit out of said attack. Now, what I highly recommend you do is you save your axe throw for when he does a rush attack like that. Since I didn't save it, I wasn't able to get him on the ground because of it. Now, it doesn't matter too much, because even if you throw it directly at him, he shouldn't have too much stagger if you're doing it solo. Now, the issue with when he does that, though, is it's very quick, and you need to pay attention to it. Another thing you gotta pay attention to is the roll time on that. As you can see, I didn't quite know what it was. I thought it was a little quicker like Shroud, because it's been a while. And you gotta pay attention to stuff such as that. When he's down on the ground, I recommend you focus face. You get more stagger damage in. But primarily what you gotta do is you gotta wait for him to do his glide and then throw your axe at him, or you can charge up an axe attack. I believe you need it at stage 2 in order to do anything against him when he's doing the glide. Now, the reason why I haven't been saving my axe throw here is because I was just gonna stagger him simply like that. Oh no, I didn't quite do it. Well, I'm basically staggering him slightly ahead of time, because why not? Now, usually against a heroic you want to save your axe throws for the glide. However, he doesn't do it nearly as often, which he tends to do a lot when he's the base one, but heroic only usually does it when he's enraged. I'm not entirely positive that he does it that much less since rework, because I haven't really fucked around with Shrike since rework. From what I've seen, it's mainly just a customization rework. Now as for Shrike, Shrike has become really annoying because the whole Blizzard shit. But yeah, as you can see there, you just got to throw your axe at him mid-glide and that will stagger him, and you get plenty of time to beat down on him and primarily just keep him on the ground. But the issue is, if you're not on top of it like I was there, although I was pretty close, you will not be able to throw your axe for a good little chunk, and you'll take damage for it. Now, like I said, I highly recommend you focus the face and watch for his jump attack. Now, tornadoes, they're easy to dodge, so I wouldn't be too worried about them. But as you can see, since I was busy dodging, I couldn't hit him with that axe throw. But also, make sure you pay attention for the slashes. They tend not to do too much damage, but they're very long range, as you can see, flying off the map. When he does that charge, he can either do a slash, or he will glide at you. In this case, he did a slash instead of gliding at me. So, I wasn't able to punish him, and I actually was about to preemptively throw my axe. It's a good thing I didn't, because it would have prevented me from being able to throw it then and deal a bunch of stagger. But that's pretty much the basics of strike, is you just gotta throw your axe at him when he's gliding at you, and you'll be able to punish him hard for it. Like right there, I preemptively threw my axe, but he did a slice instead of a glide. Now note, heroic strike won't do one slice, he'll do multiple.